Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live streaming. And the reason I say that I believe we are live streaming is because we had no internet, no connection the whole day. It was down, and it's a tough day without internet. And just moments ago, everything rebooted. We got everything up and running. And now I'm still checking to see if we are live streaming, if everything's working, because we didn't have anything all day. Now, all of a sudden, a moment two ago, we were up. And yeah, I can see. Do we have volume?
Streaming.
All right, very good, ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the quickest hour in real estate. My name is Warren Nelson, and this is the free online real estate class that I run every Monday evening, ladies and gentlemen, at 6 p.m. and getting it done this Monday as well with moments to spare. So you have no idea what's behind the scene. You know what I do, ladies and gentlemen, all the time? I live by this: 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That's my life these days, ladies and gentlemen. Everything comes down to the very last minute, and then all of a sudden, showtime. No time to play. Got to do what you got to do. And so that is the way real estate is as well. So life and real estate do have a way of mimicking each other. And so I like it. I like the challenge. I like at the end of the day when you look back, because in the real estate arena, when you get into this neck of the woods, ladies and gentlemen, you will accomplish more in a 24-hour period than most people. And so when you, like me, when you look back, I mean, it's only 6 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. You would not believe how and what was accomplished between 5 o'clock this morning and now. And it's only halfway through. My day's only halfway through. And so you get to be very productive. You get to be active, and you get to be more enjoyable. Let me give you an example. Yesterday, I take 2 clients out. One is in West Philadelphia, and we go and look at 5 properties together, and it's a very nice skill set. It's like HGTV, ladies and gentlemen, but it's real life HGTV. And I really love it. So when I'm with the client, I'm showing the client this with the property, this with the property, this. And so that I'm educating the client on the property. And so now they're becoming more lively, because now they're starting to look for how do we determine termite damage? Are we up to code with the plumbing and the electric? What will we be looking for? Is the sagging of the floor an indication of something? And so forth. Is this stucco because I can see the screen? Is this a problem? So it's very nice to have this HGTV light that you have in the real estate arena, that we go and show properties. We see the pros and cons of the property, and we really get familiar. Because my first client was in Southwest Philadelphia, 5 properties that we went out and look at. And my client right after my first client was in North Philadelphia, which fortunately it's Sunday. And so it only took me a half an hour to go from one end of the city to the other end. But if it was a weekday, or it would have been a nightmare. So Sundays is a big day in the real estate arena, to be really productive, especially when you don't have to deal with traffic. And open houses are part of our arena as well. Please forgive me while I take a sip of my hot chocolate. There's a reason they call it hot chocolate. Okay, anyway. Going from one side of the city to the other side of the city, a lot of people would say, oh, wow, what, and find negative making that half-hour travel from one client to the next client. Not me, ladies and gentlemen. So much can be done in the vehicle today, even while you're on the road. You can learn a lot through recordings. You can learn a lot through the visual. See the city as many times as you've seen it. You can still see it again in a different light. And the brain works too. And so when I'm alone, I'm constantly thinking. And so I'm always thinking. Now I'm showing my client's property, and I'm thinking, how could I incorporate the showing of a property to my students as well? Because it's not as easy as it sounds, because there are state regulations and requirements what you can and cannot do in a state regulated mandated class. So this is why I have to have outside classes. So I have my state mandated classes, ladies and gentlemen. The state mandated class means the school has to be approved, the curriculum has to be approved, you have to be approved to do state mandated class where a license by the state would be required. And so I teach those state mandated classes. Plus, I also teach classes that are not mandated classes, like investment classes, financial classes, and so forth, other classes that I teach. So it's a constant understanding that when I want to be creative and I want to incorporate a few things in the class to give to my students, sometimes I'm restricted. I can't do. So my creativity is held back a little bit. And what my students find out when they're in my class is that sometimes their creativity or what they want to do in the real estate arena, they find out that they won't be able to do it because the licensing requirement would restrict them from doing it. Let me give you an example. You might think that you could do a deal like this. Let's just say that you want to be a real estate agent, or you think that you could make a commission doing this. Let me give out the scenario. Tell me if this ever happened to you. So a seller wants to sell the property for $180,000. That's what they get. And you say, well, look, if I find a buyer that's willing to pay $210,000, $30,000 over the asking price, would that be okay? You get the 180 and I keep 30,000 commission. See, this is a little slimy here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is called a net listing in the real estate arena, which is illegal. You can't do it. So what you're trying to do is net over the asking price. So the seller wants 180 and you say, well, fine, if I can find a buyer that's willing to give you the 180 plus, can I keep the plus? So there is a problem. If you want to be an investor and represent yourself, then that plus really isn't a problem. But if you want to be a representative where you're representing others and understanding contract law and ethical responsibilities, well, then that plus would be illegal. So you couldn't do that. So sometimes your creativity, you might be thinking there's a lot of things and a lot of ways that you can make money in real estate, only to find out that federal, state, and local law might be holding that back, that creativity. Licensing law might be holding back that creativity. And so it's really wise to find out, can I do an assignment? Is there any such thing as an assignment? Can I do an assumption of mortgage? Is there any such thing? And if there is, are there any caveats, or can anybody do it? And so let's talk about those two things, ladies and gentlemen, the assignment of contract and assignment of mortgage. Two different, we hear it all the time in the investment world. You could do assignment of contract, or we could do assignment of mortgage. Which one's the good one? Which one's not? Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, I have nothing in my system, and so I don't pass out. I have to put a little bit of sweet in my system just so I don't pass out. Dates like today, you get neglected to put the nourishment back into your body. My wife scolds me all the time for it, but it is the way it goes. So anyway, assignment of contract, assignment of mortgage. Can we do either one? And would we, or what wouldn't we? So assignment of contract, let me give you a quick scenario. There's an offer. Somebody's made an offer to buy the property. And let's just say the property's worth 220 and they made an offer for 220. But they wanted inspection, they wanted a cert, they wanted certain special financing. And now the deal's falling through. It's one of these creative finance where the buyer thought they could buy the property with no money down, ask for all these terms. And now this deal obviously is crap in the bed. It's not going to float because the reality wasn't there. And so now what the seller says is, look, we already have a contract on the property. If you would like to assume this existing contract, that could expedite this deal. The question is why? Why would you want to assume that contract, especially when it's already falling through the cracks for the first person who made the ridiculous terms of this contract? Why would you want to assume those ridiculous terms? Why wouldn't you want to just do your own terms, your own negotiations, your own price? Why would you want to take over somebody else's obligations that they already committed to and can't handle? So assignment of contract, we need to be very careful about what that exactly means. Assignment of mortgage is a financial mechanism that happens every day in the real estate mechanism in the real estate world, ladies and gentlemen. And shrewd investors, smart investors buy the money rather than the real estate. When they buy the money, they end up with the real estate. And so what assignment of mortgage means is that you already have a mortgage on a property. Let's just say that you took out your mortgage with ABC lender. ABC lender gave you the loan, and you've been making your payment to ABC lender for the last 3 years, 4 years. And then all of a sudden you get notice in your mail that you're not going to make your payments to ABC lender anymore. You will now make your payments to XYZ lender. And this happens because what happened is the lender sold your loan to XYZ. So this is known as assignment of mortgage. And that mortgage, see, this is what we teach in the class. What's the mortgage? What's the note? The mortgage is the bank's legal instrument that allows them to foreclose and take your property. So we'll talk about the mortgage. In the mortgage, there might be an alienation clause. There might be an acceleration clause. And so will we be able to sign the mortgage or assume the mortgage? So in this situation, since we're talking about assignment of mortgage, the assignment is allowed. The bank is allowing the next borrower to take over and become the payee, the receiver. The owner of the property that received the notice, nothing changed for them. Their payments stay the same. They don't have to worry. It's not foreclosure. It's everyday business. So instead of making their payments to ABC lender, which they have been doing for the last 3, 4, maybe 5 years, now they're going to notice that says they have to make their payments, same payments, nothing changes, to XYZ lender. So the only thing that changes is who they make the payments to now. This happens every day in the real estate business with lenders amongst lenders selling mortgages amongst themselves. This happens because of the primary lender and the secondary market. So it's part of a financial mechanism where assignment of mortgage is good business. It's a great investment mechanism. Assignment of contract, maybe not so good. Now, let's talk about assumption of mortgage. And of course, we don't want to bother wasting our time with assumption of contract. We just talked about that. Assumption of mortgage. So in this situation, let's lay it out for you. I want to sell my property for $200,000, but I already have an existing mortgage on the property for $100,000. So I want to sell for $200,000, but I still owe the bank $100,000. Now you offer me $200,000 for the property, and in a creative financing technique, you say to me, "Here's what I'll do. I'll give you $100,000 cash, and I'll take over the payment of the $100,000 mortgage." This is called creative financing, where we're trying to buy property on terms rather than cash. So the seller wants $200,000, and you want to give them $200,000. It's just that you don't quite have $200,000 to work with, and you might not be able to get a loan, a mortgage. You might have some credit issues, but you do have some cash to work with. So you could do this. You could say to the seller, "Listen, I'll give you the $200,000 cash for the property. Here's what I am going to do, though. I'll give you $100,000 cash, and I'll take over that $100,000 mortgage. Therefore, giving you your equity, the $100,000 out of the equity. And instead of paying off the first mortgage, I'll just take over the payments of the first mortgage." Now, these things have to be arranged, especially if you don't make the payments on the first mortgage. How does that affect the seller? We'll talk about all these things in the classroom, but it's the seller's property. We can do this, but I want to assume the payment of that mortgage. I better know, ladies and gentlemen, if there's an alienation clause in that mortgage and an acceleration clause. I can tell you the acceleration clause is in there. That's a give me. That's in every mortgage, every FHA, every VA mortgage, every mortgage has an acceleration clause. Without the acceleration clause, the lender would have to sue you every time you were late or missing a payment. So to avoid that extra legal work of suing you every time you're missing payment, there's an acceleration clause. What is the acceleration clause? Remember in the scenario, selling it for 200 and I owe 100,000. The acceleration clause says that the lender can accelerate the entire loan and call the entire loan due and payable immediately. So instead of making your payments over the remaining 25 years, we want it tomorrow. make the rest of the payment, 100,000 by tomorrow. So this is known as an acceleration clause that is in the mortgage, and every lender has the acceleration clause. But the question is there an alienation clause in the mortgage? And this is what you're going to look for. If there is an alienation clause in the mortgage, then it gives the lender two options. One, they can accelerate the loan without having approved the assumption of a mortgage, or two, they can approve the mortgage with new terms. And so this protects the lender's interest in this loan. So the mortgage, unbeknownst probably to the buyer, unbeknownst to anybody but the lender, because there's no lessons of what happens here. It'll be a school like mine that would teach you what you need to know, what charges you're paying for when you get a loan, what the real cost of the loan is, what the real interest rate is of the loan. And so the lenders don't have a very good foundation of explanation, fundamental understanding. The lenders are good at getting a loan and sign here, do this, do this. And so it's usually the real estate representative that will have to explain this to the client of what's going on. So in this situation, since we have an alienation clause in the mortgage, the lender has two options, and you as an investor would need to know this if you want to buy a property on terms. We would now have to contact the lender and ask permission to assume the mortgage, because the alienation clause, if we just assume the mortgage without the lender knowing about it, and then the lender finds out somewhere along the pipeline, then the lender can hit you up with the acceleration clause. So if I just take over this $100,000 mortgage, I already gave the seller 100,000 cash. I gave him 100,000 cash, and I took over the $100,000 mortgage, hoping I got a $200,000 property for only 100,000 out of my cash and take over the payments. All right, creative. But now the lender found out that this process was done without their permission. Now they contact you. Hey, Warren, I understand you just bought this nice property. I said, yes, I did. And that seems like to be a creative way that you did it, buying it with 100,000 cash and the rest on term. Thank you very much. But did you know about the alienation clause that was in that mortgage that you assumed, Mr. Nelson? Alienation clause? Is that some Martians coming down to take over the plan or something like that? What's the alienation clause? Well, alienation clause is actually something different than Martians. Alienation clause gives us, the lender, to call you right now and tell you congratulations on buying the property and assuming the mortgage, and that we want all of our money on that mortgage immediately tomorrow. And if we don't have all that money on that mortgage tomorrow, we will be starting the foreclosure process as the terms of that mortgage says. That gives us the right to do this. Were you aware of that alienation clause when you bought this property, Mr. Nelson? So now's not the time to be learning about these things, ladies and gentlemen. So when you take these creative financing classes and these creative gurus, how to buy money with no money down, beep, beep, how to assume a mortgage, how to flip a property without ever taking ownership of it, oh, that's crap, ladies and gentlemen. At least in this state, the title company won't do that. Let me ask you a question. You buy a property today, you own it, you get the deed to it. How soon can you turn around and sell that property that you just bought today? You got no mortgage on it, you own it, you paid cash for it. How soon can you turn around and sell that property? See, ladies and gentlemen, you think you can turn around and sell it the next day? You would be mistaken. You think you can sell it within 30 days? You would be mistaken. Chances are the title company will not allow the transfer of that deed for 60 to 90 days, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a reason why that is happening as well. All right, the bring down, search, and so forth. You need to know this. So because the title company really can't even file the deed for 30 days, until they can even do the second search, you can't transfer that property for the first 30 days. We're not even through the process. Yes, you got the deed. Yes, you're the owner of the property, but you can't sell it to anybody because the title can't transfer it to the new owners. They didn't process the first transfer. So there's no such thing as a same day, next day flip, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when you have investors out there, and I mean instructors that want to teach you how to get rich. Yeah, let me tell you how to get rich, all right? I know why people don't want my Pinto. Never take money advice from a poor man, ladies and gentlemen. It just doesn't work, all right? And so you shouldn't listen. This is what happens in the real estate business. A lot of people talk to you and talk you out of a deal. You can't do that. No way does that happen. No way, blah, 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 blah. Why the hell would you take advice from somebody like that that is not offering any positive, productive advice anyway? I don't understand why you would let that bother you. Why would you let that hold you back? But we are very susceptible to our surroundings and those that we sometimes should not listen to. But I would not take money advice from a poor man, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're getting these investment classes that tell you how you can get rich in real estate, I'm going to have to urge on the side of caution, ladies and gentlemen, and let a little reality in. Yes, you can get rich in real estate, but you want to know the secret? It's only $9.99. No, I'm just kidding. There's no price. There's no charge for it. You want to know what the secret is, ladies and gentlemen? You got to work to succeed. You heard me say this 1,000 times. You heard me say this. I told you I'm out there with my clients yesterday. I'm in one part of the city and the other part of the city. I'm on the phone today. I'm teaching agents, helping them with their business. And so it's a constant business, but it's not like I'm sitting on the sofa. It's not like I'm saying, yeah, I don't feel like I'm going to work today. It doesn't freaking work like that, ladies and gentlemen. That's la la land. That's not reality. Oh, I don't want to work 2 hours a day. That's it. You know, dream as you may, dream as you might. But I'll tell you what, bills are still going to be there. The reality is still going to be there. And you could be as creative as you want in shirking your responsibilities. But somewhere along the line, reality is going to kick in. And you're going to realize that you have these responsibilities. You said you would do it. You took on the payment, you took on the responsibility, and now it's a little overwhelming and you're crying and you're like, why can't I get ahead? But you know deep down, you know how lazy you are. You know it. You want to be lazy. You want it's the game today, ladies and gentlemen, to try to get ahead and not do anything, you know. So it's okay. It's the game. But this game, it seems to be having some effects early on, and the players are starting to realize that it's causing a little bit of heartache, stress, anxiety, and anger. Oh my God, a lot of anger. And the anger is not addressed at the right places, I assure you of that. But if it was addressed at the right place, we probably wouldn't be in this situation to be so angry about, would we? All right, so logic seems to defy surroundings that I approach lately. I got to be real careful about it. I want to tell you about it, but I have to be careful about it. And so how can you say, I like to use Forrest Gump. You know, stupid is, stupid does. All right. So Forrest Gump does this. And people are like, what was that? I don't understand that. And so you start to realize stupid is as stupid does. If you are only bright enough to be a 25-watt light bulb, then you should not expect to be a 100-watt light bulb, because you are only tuned and only have enough database, enough logic to process as a 25-watt bulb. You might want to be a 100-watt light bulb, might not, but the reality is you're a 25-watt bulb. And so now, again, this is not insulting unless light bulbs are a protected class these days, and I didn't know about it. So if anybody's offended because of the 25-watt bulb and 100-watt bulb, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if there's a party that we can go to or who we can complain to or put out of business or ruin somebody's life over it, but I'm sure it's out there. So be creative, because we seem to be creative in all our negativeness today, and it seems to be reflecting in our media. Our media seems to be negative in a purposeful way. Now it's not the time to be buying property. Now it looks like the sky's falling. It looks like bad days are ahead. The best thing you do is find a rock and bunker down until what, ladies and gentlemen? Until what? Until better days are coming? Here, let me give you some great advice. You ready for some great advice? Free advice. Don't bother Don't make an effort. Don't put any energy into it. Here's what you do. Sit back, chill, wait it out. Better days are coming, and hopefully you won't starve, and everybody be peaceful and happy. Don't do anything to try to improve anything. Just sit back and wait. Hey, look, always remember, government's there. Government's there. Right. So I hope that my advice that I gave you works out well for you in the future. And sometimes some advice that you are receiving might be wise not to take to heart, ladies and gentlemen, and not to give too much consideration. Sometimes it's just bad advice. And so call it bad advice. It was bad advice. I knew it was bad advice when you gave it to me. I know it's bad advice now. So sit back and wait. Don't do nothing, shirk my responsibilities, and then cry when it all hits the crap and fan. All right, let's try it, see how it works. Sitting right here waiting for your replies, ladies and gentlemen. Should be coming in shortly. Real estate is an arena where it usually involves entrepreneurs, overachievers, and a different form of energy. There is no real estate agents, ladies and gentlemen, that you know of that sit around doing nothing. You would not know of them if they sat around doing nothing. But because you see their signs all over the place, because you see their advertisement, now you know of them because this individual decided not to sit around doing nothing. This individual decided to let you all know, hey, I'm in business. I'm a real estate agent. I'm here to help. Effort in, effort out. Call me. I'll help you. So now, two different scenarios. We have an agent that you didn't even know was a real estate agent, never even knew that had a real estate license, never did a deal, never did a transaction. But the other person who you never met, you already know they're a real estate agent because you see their signs, you see their advertisement. And so this is how it works, ladies and gentlemen. The person who's making that effort to get noticed in the right way pays off. It pays off because the effort. Here, let me give you another example. As I teach my agents, we are working with brand new buyers and sellers. They're in the very beginning stages. Some have decided not to make a decision yet. They don't know if they want to buy or sell. But at this stage of the game in the business station, gentlemen, the effort that we're going to be putting in is a follow-up. And so what we're going to do is we're going to stay in contact and help our client with a few different examples and options so that they can help make a decision. And they really do want to hear from you because a lot of agents are like, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to call. I don't want to bother them. Well, actually, that was probably the worst thing you could do because now what they're saying is, they called me, never called me again, never gave me advice. I waited for their call, but they never called. And so there's psychology that goes into this business. And so I teach my agents that the work that you're putting in today will be paying off 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months from now. But all the work that we put in for the next 7 months is going to create that, what we call that chain of income that we have, pipeline. The money's in our pipeline. And so the way that the real estate business works, and this is how all of a sudden you're blessed with all this money in the real estate arena, is because as a new real estate agent, you work your butt off. You're doing social media, you're doing advertisement, you're getting the word out there, and you feel like you're talking to nobody. You feel like nobody hears you. Nothing's happening. And you feel like, why even bother? Why even make the effort? This is the challenge to prove if you got the right stuff or you don't. Most will quit. Most will give up and then go back to complaining and crying. No, it never works out for me. I tried. It just, that never works out for me. I'm so sick of this. That is the wrong attraction, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to attract exactly what it sounded like. And it's going to continue to have bad days ahead. And you're always going to complain and bellyache. That's just the way it is for some. You have to understand it. But there are these others that know that, yes, it sounds like I'm talking to myself. It feels like I'm getting no traction. It feels like I'm not going to make any money in this business, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to believe in it. I'm still going to do what was proven to work before. It's proven, it's got to work. So I'm just going to stay. I'm going to stay the course. I'm just going to stay, and I'm just going to do it. And then, before you know it, client and another client and another client. And before you know it, now all that effort that you put in, that you thought wasn't paying off, you thought you were talking to yourself, you thought nobody was hearing you, now something's triggering because you repeat it. If you're going to cry about something and you want attention, then why not do it about this? Why don't you cry about yourself and about your ability to help others and grab the right attention? So put the effort into a productive thing, especially if you already have that gift and the ability to cry, because now you know you can be heard. Now you know you can draw the attention. This is what business is all about. And so since you have this ability, why not use it productively to make money so that you can be self-employed? You don't have to be anybody else's employee. You can make your hours. You can be as lazy as you want and not feel guilty about it, because you do have the ability to have a pipeline of money coming in. I'll teach you how to do residual income. This is what I teach in class. If you can create residual income, then you're wealthy. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't have any mortgage payment, no rent payment each and every month, you didn't have to pay the mortgage, you didn't have to pay the rent, would that make life better for you? Would you be a little bit happier about that? One of the first investment properties that I teach my agents, and I teach my students as well, one of the very first investment properties that you should buy should be a multifamily property, a duplex, maybe get lucky in a triplex, using an FHA mortgage. You only need 3.5% down. That means, to say you're buying a $100,000 property, you would only need $3,500 to buy this investment property, a duplex. Now, can you get an investment property for $100,000? Absolutely. I've been doing this for so freaking long, ladies and gentlemen. I've been 30 years in this business. I'm 30 years and you hear the same thing. Well, you can't get a deal like that anymore. You can't get a deal like that no more. That doesn't happen. It happens every day in the real estate business. We have estates. People are left property, they don't want it. We have divorce. We have foreclosures. We have lots of situations where you can absolutely get the property at a good deal and make a lot of money on it. So if you're thinking wrong already, you can't get a deal like that anymore, it doesn't happen, you're out. This is what this whole show is about today, ladies and gentlemen, on the right mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, I was hoping to be giving you examples rather than say mindset, just come out and show you what I mean by thinking one way and thinking another way. All right. This is the secret to success. You have to work to succeed. You have to work. So if you put the effort in, if you put the time and effort in, and you stick to it, you do it, ladies and gentlemen, it will pay off. It will. Everything works out very, very nice. But if you don't put any effort into it, then nothing works out for you. So this is what I teach you, and you have to understand that this is the way to be successful in anything that we do. It's not easy keeping a positive mental attitude, especially when you're having trouble paying the bills and you're struggling. So if you learn how to do things in a mechanism way, like buying this multifamily property with an FHA mortgage, and you only need $3,500 out of your pocket, maybe not even that, but anyway, let's use that scenario. And so here's how this works. You just bought a duplex, $100,000. And let's just say that on this payment, your payments are like $650 a month, $650 a month in the mortgage, give or take right there. But this is the duplex. You can rent out the first floor for $500 a month, and you can rent, or you can rent out the second floor for $500 a month. You could do that and make negative cash flow because you got $650 a month on the mortgage. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're getting at least $650 a month for the rent on the second floor or the first floor, depending on what you want. not both units. You're not renting out both units, not yet. Because an FHA mortgage requirement, ladies and gentlemen, says that you have to live in this property for anywhere from 1 to 3 years. It depends on the lender and the insured quality, so forth. So if you get an FHA mortgage to buy a property, then you will be required to live in that property for maybe a year up to 3 years. So you're not going to rent out the second unit. You're going to be living in it because I just told you that you have to live in the property for a year to 3 years under an FHA mortgage. So in this situation, we're buying a duplex. We rent out the top floor or the bottom floor, whichever unit you want to live in, $650 a month in our little example. And what we are doing here is not making any positive cash flow on the property. We're not making any money with the tenant. What we are doing is the tenant up there is paying the whole mortgage and we are living rent-free, mortgage-free. We have no expense because the tenant is paying the mortgage. Now, we're not making any money yet, but we are living rent-free, mortgage-free. As long as the tenant's making the payments and you're paying the mortgage with that money, then you don't have no expense. And after 1 to 3 years, depending on the lender, then you can move out, buy something else, and now you've got multi-income coming in. Now you can rent out both units, and now the positive cash flow comes in. Notice that you had to live in the property for a year, so it didn't happen immediately, but you did put in your 12 months or your 3 years, you took care of the property, and now you can move out, and you got positive cash flow coming in. Now you got 2 incomes coming in. But originally wasn't an investment for the income. Originally it was an investment to live rent-free or mortgage-free. So if you could take the stress level of your life down a notch by being smart enough to understand how to invest in property and why, we're not looking for positive cash flow. It'd be nice if it happens, but it's not what we're looking for. We're looking to live rent-free or mortgage-free, having somebody else pay our bill, and we don't have to. This is a smart process and a very good beginning to your life, financial, and to your portfolio for that which you would love to leave to your loved ones when your last days on this earth comes. You like to have something built up, a little enterprise, a money-making machine, a portfolio of properties. And it's not hard, ladies and gentlemen, it's not hard, providing you know exactly what you need to do. If you do everything the way you're supposed to. But when you try to be real creative and try to get in there and here's another thing. You say, I don't have the money. I bet you do. I bet you do. You just didn't know that you were sitting on the money. So that's the other thing that this class does. Because I told you I teach financial classes when I'm not teaching licensed class. Pre-license is a state mandated class. And so I'm mandated by the state of what I can and cannot do in that class. But it's a very informative class because the state put it together to make sure that you have a great platform, a great foundation of knowing what you can and cannot do. But other classes that are not state required, I have a lot more luxury to be a lot more freer in my explanations. So in my financial class, we talk about these things, the trust, the deed, how to leave property, how to set up, how to buy property, and how to buy property when you're sitting on money that you didn't even know. And same thing, seniors are sitting on money that they didn't know. And so we talk about it and how that reverse annuity mortgage makes life much easier for them. And everybody else who's working and has not retired yet, if they got a 401k, a 403b, some kind of a pension plan, they might be sitting on money that they can have access to. They don't have to wait till they're 62 and a half, 63 to take that money out. And it's called a tax deferred rollover because that's what a retirement plan is. It's tax deferred. So that means the money that comes out of your payroll check goes directly into your investment plan before the government takes any taxes. It's deferred. The taxes will come later when you're at another age and in another tax bracket, a lower tax bracket. So this is known as tax deferred. The taxes have not been taken out of this money yet. It went from your paycheck right into this retirement or pension plan. Government didn't take their taxes yet. Now, since this is a tax deferred investment, especially self-contributing, you have other options that you can do. And so you can roll over this tax deferred investment 401k, a 403b, all of them allow you to do this. And this is another reason why you want to be invested in the pension plan at work. We talk about this in the financial class. It's free money. Why would you give it away? But most people don't know that. Now you can use this pension plan up to $10,000 and for 120 days. After you take it out, you have to use it within 120 days. You don't have to worry about any penalty or any hardship rule or any early withdrawal. Providing the money to $10,000, up to $10,000 is used for the down payment of a property within 120 days. So you don't really want to take it out of the pension plan unless you already know that you're going to be under contract. You don't want to go under contract yet. All right. So there's a little guidelines here, but that's okay. Everything has this regulations and guidelines. And that's where the real estate agent steps in and knows how to help people out doing these things. And so now they could borrow their own investment money. They don't have to wait to be retired at 62. Now they can tap into this and no penalty, no early withdrawal, and so forth. And the interest that they pay back on this loan will be the interest to themselves. So they're paying back themselves interest. So they're improving their pension plan and they end up with a property. So they were sitting on money that they didn't even know they were sitting on to buy a property. And that's just one example, ladies and gentlemen. And so when you know how to qualify a buyer and know that they are absolutely able to buy a property, listen, ladies and gentlemen, there's still grant money available, surprisingly enough. Philly First $10,000 grant for first-time home buyers. Then there's the Community Reinvestment Act. Sorry about that, got me a little tongue-tied. Community Reinvestment Act, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a law that works with the banks, and the banks make more options available to the community. Sometimes it's a gift instead of a loan. So there are so many other available programs that most people don't even know because, as I said, not a lot of effort is expunged. Everything's like a Wawa today. You expect to walk in, get what you pay, and get out. You don't really want to think about it. You just want it done. Get it done for me. You do it. You do it. So this is why we make a lot of money in the business of real estate, because nobody wants to do it for themselves. So you do it. Here, you do it. Take my money, please. You do it. And so since we have that side, that's fine. Again, a business model that can be worked around that. But that's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. If people are not going to educate themselves about all the options, but you are willing to learn about all these options, then why should you not benefit by sharing the knowledge that you have made an effort to gain? And why not benefit by helping others to do what they don't know? They didn't take the effort to learn. They didn't take the time to figure these things out, but you did. And you are the one. You are the unique ones that are in my class. Yeah, I wish everybody was like this, ladies and gentlemen. I'd be wealthy. But unfortunately, this is turning out to be a labor of love. And so it's not a lot of money in the real estate educational arena. You would think that there would be more, but the problem is, as I said in the beginning of this, is people are putting less and less effort into wanting to know, wanting to learn, wanting to achieve more. And because we have a society that's getting more agreeable with being I don't feel like doing it, not going to do it, less and less, I'm going to do less and less and less each day, then we're getting to a point where less want to be educated, less want to be productive. And so it's a different change in society, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, if you're smart, you'll realize that this population of laziness is a smorgasbord of opportunity and money. So I'm okay with the laziness. Don't get me wrong, because I know I'm smart enough to know how to capitalize off that it's laziness, and yeah, I'll do fine. But I'm also understanding that it's harder for me to help others achieve what I achieved and to do what I've done because less and less are willing to put in time and effort today, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. It's a shame. People want, but the only thing that we turn out to be really good at today, the only thing that we are productive at today is excuses. Excuses. We're good at excuses, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, sometimes we'll ask, oh, what do I tell them? I don't want to come to work tomorrow. Can you help? Give me an excuse. So sometimes we can't even come up with our own damn excuse, and we can't even put any effort in that. But if we do put effort into anything today, ladies and gentlemen, it really is excuses as to why you like keep putting things off, why you can't get it done. And convince yourself if you like, because really the excuses are for you, because you're only trying to convince yourself of why you did not do or achieve what you wanted to achieve. And so that's fine. If you're good with the excuses, it works for me. But I'm always on the prowl for sharing, paying it forward, and helping others to help others, helping others to achieve the gift of that knowledge, that understanding, so that they have this foundation of knowing they don't have to worry about what's going to happen because they are creative. They are making the effort. They are putting in the work so that they would have these things later. They're not sitting around waiting for it to happen, hoping and praying it's going to happen, or blaming someone else for it not happening. So that's what I said. There's fewer and fewer of these individuals. And so you're starting to notice that the education arena is starting to have less, and they're starting to offer less. Look at the colleges today, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we could talk about a joke. It is. Everybody gets a PhD. You get a PhD. You get a PhD. You get a PhD. Everybody gets a PhD. All right. So is the paper that the college offers you worth anything? You know what? Let me prove a point to you, ladies and gentlemen. There's a show I use this example. I love this example. Are you smarter than a seventh grader? I think this show, I forget what it is, but it's where you, the adult, is up against the child who's still in elementary school. And the question is, are you smarter than this child who's still in elementary school? So are you smarter than the seventh grader? And that's what this show does. And the show mocks our society. The show proves how stupid our society has evolved with all this college education that you have achieved. And it turns out that they're not smarter than the seventh grade. No, I'm sure that's going to change. And the seventh graders should not have this much information and knowledge. So system failed somewhere along the line. We'll correct that, make sure that we dumb these children up as soon as possible as well. But did that PhD make this individual who just embarrassed themselves on television smarter than the seventh grader, ladies and gentlemen? And so this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with not only those who don't really want to make any effort, we're dealing with educational institutions that aren't educating you. And so I'm starting to see this. And it's okay by me because I'm already capitalizing. I'm already realizing, you got to think like the federal government, because the federal government is absolutely in this business of working with dum-dums, working with those who can't help themselves or won't help themselves, or those who can help themselves. It'd be good if we, in our business, in the federal business, convince them that they shouldn't be helping themselves, that they might be privileged because they still have the ability to earn and work. And so we got to make that a little taboo and make that look ugly too, so that our business of having you rely on us survives. And so it's easy to dumb you down compared to educating. And federal government's hoping that they can continue to dumb you down, because that means that you would have to be relying on the system that we already told you that you can rely on. You don't have to work. You don't have to make any effort. Let the government be there for you. They call it socialism, whatever you want to call it, that has different names for it, but it never works when you're relying on somebody else to take care of you. Then you're going to be really in a rut when you rely too heavily on somebody else, and now you don't have the power or the energy or the ability to help yourself. Now you're officially screwed. And so that's what we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen. And I try every Monday, whatever I do, sometimes I use psychology, whatever I can do to try to motivate you to invest in you. I have 2 classes left this year, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know if these are going to be my last 2 classes or why I'm still in a decision-making factor, but I got 2 classes left, ladies and gentlemen. And so if you want what all my students have received, and see if I didn't do anything, sorry about that. If you want what all my students have received, just look at the reviews, ladies and gentlemen. You won't find one student that was upset about anything that they learned in my class. Read all my reviews, see the reviews, and understand I have 2 classes left, ladies and gentlemen. Stop with the excuses. You're running out of time. I got 2 classes left, and that's it for this year. I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I haven't decided yet. But as of right now, 2 classes left. And so if you want an opportunity to have a great 2025 next year, because this year's it's going fast, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to rocket your next year, if you want to be in a good position so that next year, especially knowing that we might have interest rates going up and economy, inflation, this real estate arena, my classes, is going to prep you for the bad times so that you can maneuver, because it's only history repeating itself. We actually have a Carter era repeating itself. So if you knew what happened then and what we can incorporate the past into now and to shelter yourself from the future. But without the class, without the knowledge, then you're going to be feeling the pressure of the doom and gloom. Everybody around you is talking about the end is coming. This is the end of the world as we know it. Don't surround yourself with that, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be all around you. Understand what you want to do is you want to be in a position to capitalize off of all that doom and gloom. And so literally, I'm asking you to be competition of the federal government, ladies and gentlemen. And so little competition doesn't hurt anybody, but why should they take all the glory? And so understand, ladies and gentlemen, educate yourself. Give yourself this opportunity. The most money you're ever going to make in your life is going to be around the arena, the real estate arena. Everything happens around this mechanism. Mortgages is the global investment economy. Mortgages, ladies and gentlemen, props up the entire world. So if mortgage is the business, the global mortgage is the business of the world, then you being in real estate, ladies and gentlemen, means that you're plugged in to another energy source, another connection, another lifeline, another opportunity, other doors and so forth will open up for you. 75 hours. Now, my class is an 8-week class. And again, like I said, I pride myself on giving you the best education that money can buy. And I think to myself, why don't I do like these other schools? Why don't I just give you a 3-week class and get you through and get you the hell out? There it is. Go take your test. Good luck. Give me my money. And so I think to myself, maybe I'm the fool. Maybe I'm the fool. Maybe I should just go down to being a 3-week class and just do it. Yeah, give me $500, give me $400, and just take the money, and then say, fine, take the money, go, because that's my competition, ladies and gentlemen. That's my competition, and guess what? It's not like they have a shortage of students, because what did I tell you? Everybody's looking for the quick way. Everybody's looking for the least resistant. Oh, it's a 3-week class compared to an 8-week class, and you think you're getting a better deal. You think you're smart by taking the 3-week class compared to the 8-week class. Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, as I said, I don't know, to be honest with you. Maybe you are the smarter one. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I am the fool for offering the 8-week class. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm in the middle of this decision and thinking maybe it's just better to, if that's the way society's evolving, why don't you just play along and take the money and run? Why make the effort of educating? It is a dilemma for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm surrounded by the element of the educational industry is all talking down, just do less, do less. Everybody wants to do less, less, less. And so it might get to the point where come next year, I'll offer a 3-week class, just throw it out there and then see what happens. If I have more money at the end of next year than I did this year, then maybe, ladies and gentlemen, maybe the lesson's on me. So we'll have to see. If you want this education that I'm offering, how I teach you to run a business, how I teach you to invest in property, how I teach memory courses, their long-term memory in this, plus prep you to take a state exam, I have 2 classes left, ladies and gentlemen. My next class is September, and I think the last class is October. So sign up if you like, get the education. If you want to advance, if you want to move ahead, if you still have some energy left to do something with, this would be a good course, ladies and gentlemen, to have this knowledge, to have the license, to have this income, to have this energy source to be plugged into, especially for what's about the head of us, then it'll be a wise choice, ladies and gentlemen. Effort in, effort out. So 2 choices. You can sit around and cry about it next year, saying that you're still gonna get nowhere, or you can make an effort to get started. You only need $299 to invest in yourself, ladies and gentlemen. If you're worthy of $299, you make the decisions, your choice, then I would encourage you to be signing up for my September class, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be my last two classes. I'm going to do a lot of advertisement to get these last two classes done because I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So the classes are going to be filling up. And so it is there. Maybe I'll offer you another excuse. Sorry, class is already filled. 49 students, max I can hold, ladies and gentlemen, 49 students in the class. So that's the max. And so I got 2 classes left. You like to sign up? I encourage you. Online Real Estate School, Inc. See the sign behind me, ladies and gentlemen? It's right there. Online Real Estate School, Inc.com. That is my website. Please read my reviews, see what my students have to say. Please see my calendar of my upcoming class and sign up if you like. You also know that I run this free class. All right, this free class is supposed to be to help you in your decision making because you're in a research stage. You're trying to figure out what school you want to go to, and you heard that this school offers this free class. And of course, some classes are better than others. Some classes talk a lot about what you're going to be in the classroom doing, and some classes talk about your goals and setting your life and understanding how the brain works. So some classes are good and some classes are not, but it's free. It's my time. I give you my hour that see if this helps you in your decision making. Is this the right school for you? Am I the right instructor? Is my chemistry working for you? Or are you already tired of my voice? So this gives you an opportunity to do an interview process with me and see if you like this school, what the school offers. But also understand what's available as well. You have an online course and 3-week classes. And so do a little research to see what materializes after those classes, ladies and gentlemen. Because I can tell you right now, one of the first questions the broker or the employer is going to ask you is, where did you get your education? Where'd you go to school? Where did you attend? And when you mentioned that you did an online course or a 3-week class, you know what I'm saying? And so now this employer or this broker has to take this into consideration. How much do you really know? How much work is it going to be for me to take you on, knowing that you passed in the state exam, you test well, but what did you learn in 3 weeks? So that's an employment decision that the employer or the broker might take into consideration, ladies and gentlemen, and say, you know what? I'm going to take a pass, walk around, work with another broker and come back and see me in a year when you get some more experience. So these are the things. But when you mention this school, ladies and gentlemen, as a matter of fact, most brokers are referring people to this school because they know the quality of agents that they're going to have because of all the extra effort that I put into making sure that you get the education that you're paying for. So again, I wonder sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, not to be a bummer, but reality is reality. And sometimes I wonder if I'm doing the right thing. I see others doing less and less and profitable, and you don't see anybody complaining. Nobody's complaining about it. I just felt like I got ripped off. I just paid you $500 and didn't learn anything in your class. But I ain't going to say anything about it. Nobody speaks up anymore. So that, so we're in this situation that if you could take candy from a baby, will you? And it looks like, since nobody wants to complain, or they're complaining about all the wrong damn things, that why the hell not? Why not? So ladies and gentlemen, I'm really getting to that point now where, I'm thinking that people just want to be taken advantage of. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. So I'm offering 2 more classes, ladies and gentlemen, my September class, my October class, where you will get a fine education. I still have the energy. I still have the desire to educate and teach. I'm just finding it harder and harder to find those who want to learn. It just seems to be harder and harder. And so decision-making, what I want to do, what I don't want to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so sorry to be a bummer, but again, that's the way it goes. Sometimes the stars are lined up that way. So what can I say? It is. So I'll see everybody next Monday. Be safe, be healthy, be happy, God willing. I'll see everybody next Monday. Hope to see you in my class and hope to make you a licensed real estate professional in the future, ladies and gentlemen.